How you doing? Welcome to another edition of Catharsis. I'm your host, as always, Joseph J. Alexander. Joining me over here is the mopiest dog in the world, Titus Alexander. He's very upset right now because he's not getting attention. So, don't mind me. Usually, when I decide to record one of these, it's for some random reason. I'm a little strung up right now, a little pissed off. Had to deal with some bullshit, dealing with customer service. And it's not even what I'm here to talk about today. But I would like to mention that Google Play, your entire team fucking suck. And you don't know what the hell you're doing. It's pretty simple. When I give you exact instructions on what to do and you still screw up, fuck you. And I can't wait to hear from your supervisor. Also, Sling TV, your shit sucks too. I had to fight for an hour to get an actual person on the phone, and I had to go through a different department than what I should have in order to do it. Your bots that run your chat suck too. But that's not why I'm here today. That's not why I'm here. But I just need to get that off my chest. So, why am I here? Well, couldn't sleep last night. One of the first things I do when I can't sleep is doom scroll, as most of us do. And I opened up the dreaded Facebook account and clicked on my memories. And that's when I realized what the date was. And got me thinking and got me stewing. And so for those of you watching this, on the day it comes out, should be the day it's recorded or the night that it's recorded. For those of you unaware, the date of this recording is January 6th, 2025. It is the 4-year anniversary of one of the most heinous things that's ever happened in modern history. And I don't know, I've got some feelings on it. Figured I would get them off my chest. You see, that day, 4 years ago, I was home. I work out of the home. And I saw everything unfold on TV. I was watching C-SPAN just to see what fuckery would be going down with the actual elected officials who wanted to debate the outcome of the election. And then things started turning, and I had C-SPAN on one screen and I had other news outlets on the other. And I'm watching what's going on outside. And one of the things that I posted during it was "The world is watching." I still can't believe to this day that there's still people that deny that it happened, that say, oh, it was, they'll either say, oh, it was peaceful and all this stuff is made up, or they'll say it wasn't really his supporters, it was Antifa under disguise who are doing it all. No one can get a story straight as far as the lie goes, because that's what happens when you're trying to cover for something that actually did happen. But I was genuinely worried during that whole thing of what was going to happen. I was worried for people's lives that were inside. I was worried for the police officers that were there and vastly outnumbered. As far as a lot of people I know go, I have friends that subscribe to the whole ACAB theory. I personally don't, just because I know people that I've grown up with or known that have become police officers that are not bad people. And to classify all for any group of people, whether it be a profession, or a race or a lifestyle, to personify it within all above it, you can't do it. You cannot pigeonhole everyone into one category. When you say all cops are bastards, that's the equivalent of someone else saying all black people are bad, or all gay people are bad, or all Italians are bad, or all British people are bad. It's you can't pigeonhole something like that. So I felt bad, and what I saw unfolding didn't even compare to what came out afterwards, because in the age of social media, there were so many cameras, so many angles, and so many things, and it amazes me that people will still sit in this whole bubble of, no, it didn't happen like that. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Especially with it being 4 years later. And there has been many people who have reported on it or talked about it, shown footage. Honestly, if you really want to look at an unbiased view of it, yes, unbiased, watch the HBO documentary 4 Hours at the Capitol, because it talks to people from both sides of the aisle. There's one thing that I will always let people know is I am not affiliated to any party. In my state, I am a registered independent. I don't believe in labels as far as, oh, I'm left leaning, I'm right leaning, I'm a conservative, I'm a liberal, yada, yada. It's sorry. Once again, you can't put people you can't pigeonhole. But people need to realize that a lot of bad shit happened that day. 140 police officers were injured. One died the day after because of results of what happened there to him. 4 more took their own lives subsequently following it. Many of the ones left, major PTSD. One of the most outspoken who about it, Officer Michael Fanone, went through a lot and has spoken a lot. If you don't know who he is, look him up, because he went through a lot. He was watch 4 Hours at the Capitol. He's in it a lot. But it baffles me, because what's worse is in 2 weeks, the person who incited all that bullshit is going to be back in power. Now, mind you, he's been going around saying on day one he's going to pardon all the people who were arrested and convicted from January 6th. Yeah, we'll see about that. Because one of two things is going to happen. Either yes, he is, in which case, what example does that give to anyone? The example that it gives is commit crimes. You can get away with it if you know the right people or you fall in with a certain crowd. That's what it's saying. It's saying rules don't matter anymore. It's saying laws don't matter. Or he does what he always does, and which is nothing. He lied. And then see what happens from there. See how many of your supporters you lose from it. I'm stunned at people who still support this fuckbuckle. And that's a term that I usually only use for the mayor of my city currently, but it just came to mind. Because I'm telling you right now, one of the, this is my platform. You don't like it, you can turn it off. But Catharsis is my platform for whatever I need to spout about. And I made no bones about it in the intro to the first episode that it may be a bunch of things, and I may get political at times. And this may be just one of those times, if you haven't realized already. Because I'm interested, worried, and such about things that are going to happen over the next 4 years. We're in for a lot of bullshit. And if you don't believe me, I believe that I don't know if this outlet, if it's still there, but I believe there's, if not from me, but others, there's going to be a lot of I told you so's over the next few years. And trust me, if one comes up and I've still got access, I told you so's will be coming from here. Because I can't stand this bullshit. I can't stand the sheer idiocy of the vast majority of people that support this fucking idiot. I can't stand the fact that in my neighborhood, there are 4 houses within earshot or, a stone's throw from mine that, okay, yes, you voted for him. You had your your campaign sign out after, or whatever. You had your flag or your banner hanging before the election. Well, it's January now. You still have that shit hanging. And your fellow cult members feel the need to honk every fucking time they drive up my street because you have that bullshit there. And you know what happens when a car honks outside my house? My dog here loses his shit. Why? Because he's a dog. I mean, also because of things, he was a rescue, yada, yada, a bunch of stuff. But car horns are one of his, they set him off. I don't want to say trigger, but they set him off. It's not his fault. And I'm not talking about it happening, during the day. This shit happens at fucking 3 a.m. I swear, I thought it was just about to happen. This shit happens all hours of the night. It's ridiculous. The past 8 years has just been this snowballing avalanche of fuckery where all that's happened is lies and lies and lies. But people are so gullible, they believe the lies. You voted for a fucking game show host. When it comes down to brass tacks, you voted for a fucking game show host. You voted for a failed game show host who has failed in almost every business endeavor he's ever come across. And if you don't believe me, Google it. Read. This isn't, I'm not breaking any major news. Every brand with that fucker's name on it has failed. He sells his name to certain hotel establishments because some people are still that stupid and think it's worth something. And that only happened after his bullshit TV show. But dude had his chance. Everyone said, give him a chance once he's in. And we went through 4 of the worst years in modern history. Anyone that wants to say everything was great before, everyone got sick. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I'm going to let you know a little something. Because of my medical issues, because I'm still working back towards getting things, I am dependent mostly upon my disability payment every month right now. I do other things to earn income, but they fall under the threshold of actually making a difference. That's the way things are. I'm not saying I don't work. I do what I can. Content creation, I don't make a dime from that. I do it for the love of the game right now. But as of this recording, I'm not making any money off content creation. Take it for what's worth. And in the 4 years that he was in power, every year you are supposed to get a percentage increase for a cost of living adjustment. You're supposed to get that notification at the end of the year, and starting in January of the following year, you get that cost of living, and it's not anything big. You never expect it to be anything big. It's usually between 1% and 3%. However, the 4 years he was in office, there were no increases. There was no increase for cost of living. Now you think about that. 4 years in a row. Imagine if you worked at a job and you were dependent every year on a raise at the end of the year. And the end of the year came for 4 years in a row and you didn't receive that fucking raise. How pissed off would you be? Luckily, when the next president came into office, that was changed, and at least at the end of 2021, I got a letter saying, "Listen, we know you didn't get a cost of living increase here, and it was higher than that usual threshold," which helped a little. It helped a little. I'm still living below the federal median income, trust me. And trust me, that's tough when you're a homeowner. Trust me, things get budgeted in this house. Things get budgeted. But and that was just it. And I know that affected me. I don't even want to know how it affected so many other people who are who aren't able to do anything, whether it be physical disability or whether they be on just Social Security. Because we live in a day and age where most people, the term pension or the term retirement plan does not exist. And for those of you who are too young or too stupid, a 401k is not the same as a pension. A 401k is taking money that should be going into a pension for you and gambling it every day of every week, of every month, of every year. And you just have to hope when your retirement age comes that you're walking up to the cage at a casino with a blank slip, and the casino writes on that slip what you're actually getting. You never know what it is. And if you don't believe me, ask anyone that worked for Enron in the 2000s. Ask anyone that worked for Tyco. Ask anyone that worked for ING. Anyone during the housing crisis that worked for one of those that lost their shit. Their 401ks became worthless. As far as if you are younger and came across this, I'm telling you right now, open up an IRA. Do with that what you will. I don't trust 401ks, but I'm getting off on a tangent. But it's just something that I have to bring up because a lot of the time I see idiots in the comments on social media who say, well, he was in office, my 401k was doing great. Yeah, how far away are you from retirement? Because most of the people I know that were talking were between their mid 40s and their mid 50s. So at the very least, you got another 10 years to go before you actually see what that's worth. So it doesn't matter what it is today. That's like walking into a casino saying, I have $30 in my pocket, and then handing it to someone and saying, go around and bet it and come back to me at the end of the week. If it's Monday and you do that, and on Wednesday they say, I've made $8,000. Well, that's great. And then Friday they come back and go, here's $10. Sorry. That's what a 401k does to you. So for those people who are retired and living on Social Security and had a 401k that did jack shit, that cost of living increase they really need. I have a friend who I speak to quite frequently. I have two friends. They're married, but I speak to the husband a lot. I was actually just speaking to him earlier today. We went out and spoke for a little bit. My friend Phil, who's just turned 70, very intelligent, extremely intelligent. I will tell you anything. If you are my age or younger and you have the chance, make friends with someone who is of the next generation, who's educated, or at least who has life experience, because it really gives you a better outlook on things that are coming up. Talk to someone who's not addicted to social media in their later age. That's a beautiful thing about when I have conversations with Phil. He doesn't have social media accounts. And he actually seeks out unbiased news sources. He looks at both sides. He'll watch, he'll watch several things to see what different viewpoints there are. He was basically ground news before ground news was an app. And he just talks about life experience and things. He used to, he worked as a postman for a while. He worked as an IT specialist for one of the largest banks in the country. I'm not going to say things, but he had high clearance. So he knows things. And we have genuine discussions about things that are happening. And, he's worried just as much as I am about things that are going to happen. I was talking to him about things that we're doing to prepare. Had this running joke going on with our friend Shell, the producer, about us going halves on a CSA. We've been saying it every year since we both bought our houses, and just it's like, yeah, we'll get to it. This year we're actually talking about it, because all you stupid fuckers with your price of eggs bullshit, wait until all this shit happens. Meanwhile, we're going in on a CSA, so we're going to have our produce. We're going to have our eggs. Like I said, shit gets budgeted out in this house. If you have the chance to look into if you have a CSA in your area, because now's the time to get in, because they usually start in the spring, but they usually start taking in people January, February, and you can usually get a little discount on it. If you're in any area of the United States, look up if there's a CSA near you, because now's the time. And this isn't like some doomsday prepper bullshit. This is just common knowledge. It's like people say go to farmers markets, and a lot of people don't. Farmers markets are great. I fucking love them. I can't get to them because either transportation wise I can't get out there, or they're running at a time where I'm just not free. But a CSA is an offshoot of a farmers market. It's you can just, they bag up everything for you, and here's your choice, and it's worth looking into. If you have space, I know a lot of people, more and more people are living in condos or apartments, so they don't have land space to do anything. If you have access to a community garden, learn, get some seeds, get a space, plant shit. This past summer was my first year in a long time planting my own plants, and I looked into things, and I had my own tomato plants. And I grew them, and they grew a little late in the season, so I didn't get as many tomatoes as I wanted from them. But I got a bunch. And this year, I saved some of the seeds, and I've got some other seeds, and I'm going to start planting in another couple of weeks with the little pots inside, make it to the outside. And mind you, I have a whole backyard, but I just did this in 3 large pots on my deck. You're going to have to start learning how to do shit like that, because we're going to be in for some tough times. And if you're telling me, no, you're wrong, because you're one of those gas and eggs fuckers, come back to this video. Look at the date on this, January 6, 2025. A year from now, 2 years from now, see where you're at. See how things are going. Because I guarantee you, shit's about to get real fucky. The only thing that's saving us right now is the infighting. And when you have a bunch of wannabe alphas all fighting for who's going to be king shit of fuck mountain, nobody gets anything done. That's the only saving grace right now. This is my hope, is that we can just hunker down for 2 years, and then come midterms, we get that change, because it always happens. It's like clockwork. Do your research, watch the waves of how things go with who's in the White House and what they're doing, and then who's in the other branches. Keep your eyes on it, because the next 2 years are going to determine what everything happens after that, because shit's already starting to repeat itself. I mean, if y'all haven't noticed, now they're worried about these epidemics of bird flu, which aren't helping by dumb motherfuckers who got brain worms talking about raw milk. I remember the raw milk fucking craze was happening 20 years ago. And they were, and everyone's like, oh, it's so much bread. No, it ain't. It ain't. Oh, it's got to, no. You're better to never drink milk than to drink raw milk. But we got someone trying to push that shit and trying to say that this, that, and the other thing aren't good for you, when this is a dude. This is a dude who hits a freaking, who tries to save roadkill. Bro, this isn't Mad Max. You don't need to do that. Especially when your last fucking name is Kennedy. It's not like you're at a want for anything. Like, literally, bro, I can't. Shit is fucking insane. I can't. But anyways, so getting back, yeah. But yeah, I couldn't sleep last night, so I sat back and I was watching those old documentaries. I was watching 4 Hours at the Capitol. I was watching, Democracy Under Attack, things like that. There's a bunch of stuff out there. Just so you can, and so it shows news footage, but it also shows camera phone footage. People say, Ashley Babbitt was gunned down in cold blood. No. You can see video where she was warned several times. Stop or I will shoot. And didn't stop. You're talking about people who defaced federal property. People who threatened lives. People who assaulted police officers. Whose plan was to assault elected officials. Bloodthirsty mobs who did it because their cult leader told them, we're going to march there together. And then did he? No. He sat and watched it all on TV. His own private gag reel. And then when it was at the wit's end, he decides to make a video. You're very special, but you got to go home now. Things are stolen, but you got to go home. And then you can actually see video. If you can see video footage, I'm saying, he just tweeted, we'll go home. And people saying, I don't give a fuck. We're already here. You reap what you sow. Anyone that pulled some bullshit that day that got arrested fucking deserved it. Absolutely. I think there's more people that were there that didn't get arrested that I know of, that I know were fucking there that should have been arrested that weren't. Because they still fucking brag about it to this day. Yeah, I was there. I did this and that, and I didn't get caught. That's fucking great. What example are you giving for the next generation? Commit crimes, and it doesn't matter. And anybody that wants to give me whataboutism about what about this protest or that protest or this, that, and the other thing, I'm not talking about that shit. You know why? Because anytime there's riots, people get arrested. You think people get away with, like, it's like they set these buildings on fire and never got caught. People have been arrested. Number one, you got to see if those buildings are actually set on fire, because Jesus fuck, you people will believe anything. But then actually look into it. There's so many people that got fucking arrested that deserved it. Anybody that was part of one of those stupid ass organizations, like fucking the Boogaloo Fucks or the Proud Boys, or whoever the fuck, all of them that did shit fucking deserved it. And for anyone that says, oh, staged, there is video. Like I said, there is video, cell phone video of those motherfuckers going, fuck Antifa. So if they were Antifa, why would they be saying that? Also, by them saying fuck Antifa, that means that they're for fascism. But, you know, let's just split hairs here. And it still bothers me. A lot of people, you know, it's, you know, there's been some pundits who have compared January 6th to 9/11. And I can see it. Not for loss of life, but just a tragedy that has a ripple effect on our society. And that's what it is. And, you know, and this is coming from someone who was an adult when 9/11 happened. I'm an ornery fucking Gen Xer. I've seen a lot of shit. You know, so it don't mind if I see Gen Zers or Gen Alphas who, you know, try to wax political about shit that they weren't even alive for. You know, and I'm like, and trust me, this isn't me saying like, oh, you're young, you know nothing. No, if you're young and you have a thirst for knowledge and you read, then yeah, sure, I will openly have a discussion with you about it. I'm talking about people that get all of their info in little 15-second increments while they're scrolling and aren't paying attention and have an attention span that's far less than them actually watching this video. Because I don't do TikTok. I don't do shorts. I do stuff like this. Because that's how you learn. And like I said, these are my opinions. People have told me my whole life that I always have to be right. I tell them all the time, I admit when I'm fucking wrong. But some people just that's the viewpoint they have of me, and that's fine. That's fine. No skin off my nose. But yeah. Four years later, and shit still hits. And it's just, I'm generally worried, as I've said. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't be gloom and doom all the time. But I have to take a realistic view and plan for the worst, unfortunately. You know, every time I see a sale on canned goods, stuff like that, I'm like, well, maybe I should, because God knows what's going to happen after January. You know, I know that for the next 4 years, based on what happened before, I know I'm not going to get an increase in how much I make. I can bust my ass trying to do stuff, but it's a catch-22 because it takes money to make money. I have home-based business things, but I have to do them on such a small scale. Why? Because if I want to up the scale, it costs the money to do that. But I have a roof that I have to pay for. Got lights that I have to pay for. I've got the internet service to do this that I have to pay for. So I can only do things on a small scale. That's why I tried to up my content creation, hoping that, well, gee, maybe I can get some revenue from that. I spoke with a friend about having a verified X account, and they said, yeah, it's worth it. And then the rules got changed. So takes money to make money. You know, I've had this channel for over 10 years and was doing shit on it way before, you know, we were doing shit online before the YouTube channel. You know, you want to trace back things, you know, we were doing, we were doing wrestling podcasts before they were called podcasts. You know, we were doing shit back on our old websites and it was called internet radio. You know, just, you know, I remember back when you had to know someone with equipment in order to record a podcast. You know, I'm that old. I'm showing my age, but there, you know, we always, we did it just for something to do. It was never going to be a career, but we've gotten to the point, or I've gotten to the point where it's like, well, everyone else is making a career out of content creation. I might as well take a stab. Why? Because I'm already paying for the necessities. Let's try. If it does something, it does something. If not, nothing's changed for me. It would be nice because my other issue, not going to be making an increase over the next 4 years. Got to bust my ass to try to make every extra dollar I can. I've got a wedding to pay for. You know, January 1st was the anniversary of years since I proposed to my fiance. You know, we decided, you know, in the long run, wait until my health got better, wait to get a house, then worry about the wedding. Well, at the house, tried to stay out of the hospital as much as possible. I'd like to be able to pay for my wedding. And I'm not about to put up a fucking GoFundMe for it. I want to actually earn my keep in order to take care of that. Is that too much to ask? Just saying. But while this fuckbuckle is in the office, it hinders my ability to make an extra buck, both on the earning end and on the spending end. And if you don't believe me, like I said, come back to this video in a year, 2 years, 3 years, see where you're at. But I think that's all I got. I can't believe I've ranted for over a half hour, but so be it. So yeah, you can find me on my socials, as you can see in the corner there, on Twitter/X. It's at JJ_Alexander. Over on Blue Sky, it's just JJ Alexander. You can also find the links down below. Please like this video. Please subscribe. Would really like to get the subscriber count up. Share the video. If you know someone of a like mind, or someone that may not be of a like mind, who might need their eyes opened a little bit. Or would just, hell, if you know someone that needs a laugh because they want to live in that bubble of stupidity. And also follow us on, there's a Facebook page down below, yada, yada. And just keep an eye out for other shit here. Yeah, it is what it is. I think I have another topic for another edition of Catharsis that may come up later on this week, maybe next week. Depends. It comes and goes as the moment takes me. So yeah, until then, see you next time. It's the calm's gonna get you, gonna knock you around the head. Better get yourself together.